Hey guys, rachaelcprhair here. Today I wanted to share with you something that I'm doing for my patio outside. I love coasters. I absolutely love coasters. I think they're just so warm and inviting. And I wanted some that would be for outside. And I went into, I believe it was Home Goods, and they had some really nice stone coasters in there. But what I decided to do was I decided that I was going to repurpose some more of my old makeup boxes and perfume boxes to create some coasters. And I searched all around YouTube looking for different ways for me to seal the coasters so that they do not develop any problem if there's anything spilled on them. And so what I came up with was to take my old boxes, which this is my Man-Eater palette box, and I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use the inside of the box, this purple leopard print. I'm going to use those two things to create a coaster. I did it with my Burberry fragrance box, but I messed it up right here. I have to wait until it's completely set so that I can just go over this area right here to get rid of some of that paint. But this is what the finished results come out like. I love it to pieces. I just use the, let me see, for these over here, for the Burberry, I use the Ivory Travertine from Home Depot. And these are 4x4 tiles, and they came in a box like this. I've used all of them. I've made a ton of coasters. And these, I like these because the surface of the actual tile is very flat. And then the back of it has this natural finish. And I also have little feet to put on the bottom of these. So I'm going to finish these up when I do this Man-Eater palette box. And I'm going to use for the Man-Eater the Chiro tumbled 4x4 tiles, and these are very, let me just show you the packaging so you'll know what it looks like. These are extremely unfinished looking, but this is the top of the tile that is supposed to stick out from the wall. But if you turn it over, the bottom part of it that sticks to the wall into the mortar, this part is very flat. So I'm going to use this to press my box onto and to seal it onto this side, and then I'll put my little feet pegs over here on the rough side, and I think that'll just be really, really nice. This was $3.97, I believe, and then the Ivory Travertine box was $5 and some cents. So they're very affordable. There were 6 in each box. No, not 6, 9. There were 9 in each container. Very affordable. And then if you repurpose a box or something you print out, you don't have to pay for that. So it's a very cost-effective project, and it's a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this box down to 3.5 by 3.5, a 3.5 by 3.5 square. And I am going to adhere it to this underside of this tile after I clean it up with the alcohol. I will show you everything else that you'll need to do this project, and I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you again soon. So what you will need to start off with are your coaster bases, which is going to be the tiles, and I've already showed you the tiles that I use, but this is one of the boxes, and again, these are very inexpensive. This box of the Travertine 4x4s was almost $6, and then the other container I used was almost $4. And then you are going to need some type of a box, whatever you choose to use. It doesn't have to be anything that has to do with cosmetics. It can be something else that you want to kind of passport stamp and be a collection for you, or you can do something blank. I did some that were blank, and they are very, very pretty, and I love them. You will also need tabs to put at the bottom of your coasters. These come from the Dollar Tree, and they come in a pack with a whole lot of them in there, and they're all connected, and you can just take them apart, and you can make these the base for underneath your coaster. And then you can also use these right here. These are actually called bumpers, and I got this from another Dollar Tree, and I think I explained that in the video as well. And then you are going to have some things that are optional. Actually, I'll stick to the necessary things first. You are going to need some Modge Podge. Modge Podge is going to be used. You need a good amount of it because you need to seal in your coaster, whatever you put on top of your coaster. Even if you leave it blank, you still need to seal it in to make sure that it does not absorb or get affected by the water, that if it spills on top of your coaster. And I also used paint. I used acrylic paint. I have gold, copper, and silver, and I think in this video I used the copper for most of them, and then for the plain ones I use the silver, and I like them very much. And you will need brushes. I used a total of 3 brushes because I used 1 for my Modge Podge, 1 for my paint, and then actually 2 for my paints because I used 1 brush for each of the colors that I used. And the other thing that would be a good idea to use would definitely be a paper cutter. A paper cutter is a really good thing to use because if you use a paper cutter, you'll be sure to have nice clean edges and it will look very uniform. You will also need some alcohol because your tiles are going to be really sandy and gritty. I have mine in the spray bottle that I use for my alcohol. Oh, and you will also need a spray sealer, an acrylic spray sealer, and you'll see in the video the kind that I use. Okay, guys, let's get started. So in this part, I'm going to show you how I split the box of the top that I want to use for my coaster. And this part is really important because you want the topping to be as flat as possible. It is much easier to seal it when you make it really flat, and then you actually get the chance to use both the inside and outside of the same piece if you do it this way. I will let you know though that if you do split it in half, it is best not to rough cut it like I did because when you are trimming it down, it makes it very difficult. So I'm starting off with something that doesn't look like a preschooler cut it out is much better. So now that I have my separated piece that's nice and flat, I am going to pull out my cutting board and I am going to trim it down. It gave me a little bit of trouble simply because, like I said, I cut it out or I rough cut it like a preschooler, and so it was difficult to get the edge nice and straight because I didn't have a flat edge to place the board against. So again, just try your best not to do what I'm doing here and it will be a lot easier. Not impossible, but just a lot easier. Sorry about the blurring, guys. I am putting the Modge Podge onto the tile now, and the Modge Podge should be added in a nice thin layer. If you don't add it in a nice thin layer, it will definitely, it'll be difficult because the piece will keep peeling up. So add the Modge Podge and make sure it goes into all of the nooks and crannies so that you don't get bubbles. And once you finish adding the Modge Podge really nicely and evenly, you just press it down, the topper down onto the tile, and you just keep pressing into all of the nooks and crannies. Even with a towel, I had to smooth it out just to make sure all of the extra glue came out and wasn't messy, because if you have extra glue on the coaster, you will get streaks. It dries clumpy and streaky. I am now going to add some color to the edges of my coaster, and I'm using the copper color. I thought it looked really nice. It brought the whole plate down a notch so that it wouldn't be super shiny, although super shiny is fine. So this is how it looks just with the paint, and it's drying up now. And I was going to add the man-eater topper to the underside, the flat side, but I didn't remember. I was supposed to put it over here on the smooth side instead of the bumpy side. But what I'm liking about this mistake that I made is that the cover of this that says man-eater, it's actually taking on all of the imperfections of the tile, and I really like that. So I'm kind of glad that I did that. So right now I'm just going to let this completely dry. I'm not going to touch it because if you put the top layer of the Modge Podge onto the coaster too soon, it will actually make this come up. So you have to make sure it has completely dried, and you want the sides to dry as well, which it dries pretty quickly. In about an hour it will be completely set, but you want the sides to dry too because you want to seal in the color on the sides as well. It was very difficult for me to peel the coaster off of the top that I had it on, and so I placed it on top of my packing tape so that I can add the layers without sticking it to the surface that it's on. It was just in the air, and this made it a lot easier. So this is how it looks with all of the layers of the Modge Podge on it. So now before we seal it, I am going to turn it over and I am going to apply the legs to it. I've decided to use the clear feet self-adhesive bumpers for the bottom of this one, but the others I used a felt bumper from the Dollar Tree. This one came from a dollar store, but it just was not the Dollar Tree. It's one of the local dollar stores in my area. So I will put these on all of my coasters, and then I will show you how I apply the lacquer. So we're bringing it outside for the next part of this. This is our baby that we've been working on together, but these are all of the posters that I have to spray, and I am going to start spraying them now. I'm going to give them 2 coats. His misery. Okay, I don't know what just happened here with the Burberry. I did seal that one. I guess I missed some spots, and this is what happened to it. Hopefully it dries nicely. I mean, I don't think they have to be super perfect simply because they're stone. But I guess that's just something for you not to do. I just realized I didn't even color the sides of these Kate Spade boxes. And I'm just going through and making sure that I have all of the sides completely sealed. And I will say I did put the little tabs on the bottom of each of these so that they are not flat on this box as I'm spraying them, so that I don't have to worry about peeling them off. But I do prefer the tabs from the dollar store that were the felt, whereas the other tabs, they don't make it, because these coasters are so heavy. The more thick tabs are definitely the better option. So when you are doing yours, that's just something to take into consideration. Okay, all right, so we're going to let this dry out here, and then we're going to give it a second coat, and I'll show you the final results. These are the plain ones that I did not put any kind of a picture on top of. I absolutely love them. I just gave them a little silver on the sides, and I wrapped them up for a gift. You have to make sure not to stack these too quickly because they will leave an imprint. As you can see, the little corners of the one that I placed on top of it when it was just too soon. And I was not able to get the paint off of this one, and so it is just going to have that little misprint up there, but I'm perfectly okay with it. I still think they're super fun. And this one was not sealed properly, and it did not disappear. It actually got a little bit worse, but again, it's okay. And I have all the rest that are all different styles and colors, and I love them. Again, this is the one that has a missing corner because I stacked it too soon. But yes, they are so much fun. They come out so shiny and slick. I absolutely love them. And if you give it a try, I would love to see your work and the things that you decide to passport on your little coasters. And have fun this summer. Bye, guys.